education, work, responsibility. What we think about these depends on our worldview. Now, VCY America presents Worldview Radio with Bannon House.
And welcome on this August 7th, 2025. August 7th, 2025. Joining me today is going to be Patrick Wood, because it just keeps getting creepier and creepier out there. Are you ready for this? Over at Technocracy.news, European Union proposes to scan all private messages. That's gaining momentum, folks. That is gaining momentum. Scanning all your private messages, but it gets worse than that. Hang on, they're even going after the encrypted. Again, creepy alert. Sensitive conversations with ChatGPT show up on Google searches. Huh. Hope nobody is asking ChatGPT about anything personal, about any medical condition or anything else. Wow. Human AI relationships. Quote, what am I falling in love with? End quote. Joining me now is Patrick Wood, I would say the country's leading expert on technocracy and transhumanism. Patrick, welcome back to the broadcast. Thanks for being with us.
You bet. Glad to be here.
Let's go to this one right here. EU proposes to scan all private messages, and that's gaining momentum in the EU. Now, what about the encryption? What about like Signal and all these other apps that can encrypt your messages? Is it going to get around that as well?
This is the intent of this whole legislation, is to break Signal and WhatsApp in particular. And catch this: these apps are end-to-end encrypted. When you press enter on your phone with a message, it's supposed to encrypt it and send it away, and then it gets de-encrypted on the receiver's phone, right? So end-to-end, that's what it means. End-to-end is encrypted. But what they want to do is insert a snippet of code that will read your message by the time you press enter and it gets encrypted, to scan your message for trouble, whatever that means to the EU. If you're a bad boy, it knows when you're being bad. So this would basically be the end of encryption at that point. What's the point of doing that? Well, this basically will, if it goes through, it'll kill these apps altogether.
Is there any more evidence we need? I mean, it's just piling up. Mm-hmm. The EU wants to shut down freedom of speech, freedom of religion. I mean, it is they are bending over backwards for Islam. I mean, no wonder the Antichrist is going to pick Europe, have a Eurocentric world government. Not that other nations won't be involved, but I believe strongly it'll be a Eurocentric world government. That's what I've been writing about, speaking about for years. I think you believe the same thing. And isn't it interesting, just coincidentally, we see Europe leading the way in what could be the mark of the beast system. They've just now are rolling out the idea of big time of a digital dollar, digital currency. I mean, Europe is de-Christianizing themselves with Islam. Is there anything Europe could be doing any more aggressively to prepare the way for Antichrist than they're already doing? I don't think there is, really.
No.
Other than maybe start killing, maybe then start arresting and killing Christians. But in one sense, they already are arresting Christians. They're arresting at least those who proclaim a Christian worldview, whether they know it or not. Because when you speak about Islam, the truth about LGBTQ, whether that person knows it or not, they're proclaiming aspects of a Christian worldview, which includes not only exposing evil, Ephesians 5:11, have nothing to do with the unfruitful works of darkness, but rather expose it. But it's also exposing immorality, perversion, a debased mind that promotes these things. So I cut myself shaving again today. You know, when I can't wait to get to heaven so I can quit shaving. Many reasons. That's certainly not on the top of the list, people. But won't it be great not to have to shave anymore? I get so sick of shaving. Anyhow, and people will send me emails. You got to go to an electric razor. No, it just dries my skin out. Something horrific. Maybe I should do what Patrick does and grow a beard. Look at how nice that looks. You didn't even. When was the last time you had to bother with shaving, Patrick?
Not hardly.
Yeah, not hardly. All right, back to where we were. Sorry for those wondering why does he keep dabbing his mouth. That's why. I mean, already people in Europe are being arrested for either being Christians or proclaiming, whether they know it or not, as I said, a Christian worldview. So, I mean, Europe is a great place for the Antichrist to rise. And maybe it's William. The more I read about Prince William, the more I think, wow, this guy would be on my short list too. I'm reading articles. Who could believe the articles, I guess, at one sense. But it sounds like he is really ready for the old man to push on and become king. Are you reading any of these articles?
I am, and it looks like that's exactly the case at this point. As the old man, as you say, is pushed out of all decision making, he's stepping in already. So he's asserting himself right now.
And he seems like he has a temper. From what I've read, that's my opinion. It seems like he might have a very short temper, short fuse, and is not really open to a whole lot of pushback from people. Again, these are just my assumptions. I could be 100% wrong, but just based on what I'm reading about him, this guy seems like he is going to be a strong king. But of course, his father was the one that kicked it all off with Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. His grandfather, didn't his grandfather say like to come back as some kind of virus and kill 90% of the population? So this son is really cut from the mold of his grandfather and his father, but I think he's even more aggressive than either one of those two, which I would put him on my short list to be the Antichrist. Sorry, just happens to be my opinion. But maybe, I don't know who out of Europe could rise. Maybe it's someone we don't even know. But Europe is just becoming a dangerous place. And I feel sorry. You know, we have Robert. Robert's in Europe. He's a regular listener and calls in, emails in. He's constantly sending me articles about what's happening in Europe. But this would also help explain why it's going to be easy to track down those who become Christians. You're going to have all their communications.
Yeah. You know, there's already a shortage of Christians in Europe altogether. It's very, very dry for Christianity. You can't find converts hardly at all at this point. But all the other people who were grousing about the immigrant situation, all the rapes taking place, all of the other pressure or pushback against the surveillance state. Germany now and Sweden are both limiting cash transactions. Lots of stuff to complain about in Europe. But if you complain against them, they want to censor you. And at this point, they're arresting people and you can see this is going to ramp up over time to where you say one thing today and you could be arrested tomorrow. Period. End of subject. So this is clamping down on free speech, but also free thought, because they want to head you off before you even say something in the first place.
Yep. Okay, so here's somebody put out a tweet. You have it embedded in your article. The Communist European Union in action again. Well, I don't think it's communism. I think it's technocracy, which is
technocracy for sure. Yeah.
You know, which I think again, this is big government, big business working together. You can call it technocracy. What I've been calling for years, communitarianism. I think in many regards, communitarianism and technocracy are the same. We're describing the same thing. Big government, big business coming together to control you with the illusion of a free system that's really not a free system.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, this is viewed by Europeans to be communism. That's the only thing that they have experience with. It was an ugly one too. Same thing with Nazi Germany. Same thing with Italy with fascism. This was their cultural experience at this point, right? So that's all they can talk about. They don't understand technocracy per se like we do. Technocracy was invented in America in the first place. It wasn't invented in Europe, but they're gonna get a taste of it for sure in the future. And right now, this whole thing is just shaping up as a scientific dictatorship. It'll be run by algorithm, not by people. This is an important distinction. The algorithm will control the behavior of people. And
so, what is the long prognosis for organizations like mine?
It's going to be really tough. I'll just say that it's going to be tough. We will hang on as long as we can until we can't. And whatever that means, I don't know. Maybe we have 5 years, 10 years, 2 years, who knows? But you can see at this point, the vice grip is closing on us. And for instance, this thing about if Europe tags Signal and WhatsApp, just consider how will that affect Americans? Well, if you have a friend in Europe and you text something from Signal, for instance, and he texts you back with your message embedded in his text back to you, well, that whole thing will be read by the EU at that point. Mm-hmm. So
when I text my friend in Great Britain, our reporter over there, and tell him how disgusting I think his world leaders are over there, they're going to see all of it.
That's right.
Logan, remind me to start texting him today, please.
He'll be getting back to you from jail.
Yeah, poor Peter McAvane will be like, stop texting. Oh, poor Peter. It's going to be soon, I'm afraid it's going to be poor us, right? Well, look at this. Your article says that we're not going to be able to talk about climate change, climate control.
That's a big one.
If we start saying things against that, they're gonna monitor that and cut that down, knock that out.
That's right. That's a big narrative.
Think about that.
Go figure. Why that in particular? Well, they've been using this narrative. It was all made up in the first place. You documented mm-hmm. that yourself. Mm-hmm. It was a false construct in the very beginning, starting with the Club of Rome and other people in that era. This was all made up, the whole climate change nonsense. But now it's become something you cannot talk about. And even if you're for it, you still can't talk about it.
Even if you're for it, they don't want you talking about it?
If you say the wrong things about it, mm-hmm. you're going to be censored.
Okay, so even if you're for it, but don't say something that's in keeping with what their messaging is, then you're in trouble. All right, let's come back. Let's talk about another article you have. Sensitive conversations with ChatGPT show up on Google searches. Now, I had never heard this until today. I don't know. I guess, again, if you're putting in questions, medical questions, personal data, oh my. We'll be right back. Patrick Wood, Technocracy.news.
News is moving faster than ever, and so are we. Worldview Tube brings you 24/7 live stream coverage and now real-time alerts when it matters most. Once you have the Worldview Tube app installed, exit the app and navigate your way to Settings. In Settings, locate the tab labeled Notifications. Select the Notifications tab. Scroll down until you locate the Worldview Tube app icon. Select the tab. And here, you can turn on and customize your notification experience for the Worldview Tube app. News doesn't wait, and neither should you. Turn on push notifications to stay informed. Every headline as it happens.
All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us. I checked the news during the breaks. Laura Loomer, who's been a guest of my program several times, she just put out 4 minutes ago, what if I told you a high-level official in the U.S. government had an account on a sex solicitation website and regularly engaged in what she, it was obviously, she described it. I won't go there, so kids don't ask their parents this, but engaged in immoral behavior. Would anyone be surprised? How long will it be till it comes out? A lot of things will start to make more sense. A lot. TikTok. Laura Loomer, the stuff that she puts out, she investigates online and she puts out. Oh my. Well, a lot of us have said for a long time, a lot of these people are compromised. So that's interesting. Also, real quick, before we go back to the topic, we have, and we're going to deal with this tonight with Annie Cyrus on Brandon House Live. A new online platform has Hamas terrorists instructing people how to conduct an October 7th style attack. They are literally trying to globalize the Intifada. Think about that, folks. Can I ask you a question? Are you armed? Are you armed at all times? I think those of us that live in states that have laws that allow that so quickly and easily, something you need to really seriously think about, folks, particularly you men. The police are going to show up just in time to take the reports. That's about all. Very rarely do they show up in time to end it. And of course, being Christians, we are targets. Our Jewish friends, they're at risk, as everyone knows. And now we have Hamas instructing people on how to conduct an October 7th style event. We also have the Prime Minister of Israel saying that, quote, Israel won't annex or occupy Gaza. It will launch a time-bound, limited military operation once cabinet approves it tonight, and then hand Gaza over to an international body which will have neither Hamas nor the Palestinian Authority. Dumb idea, in my opinion. Why on earth would you hand over your own land to an international body? They handed over the Temple Mount. They own it, but they gave custody to the Temple Mount to the Islamists. They called their, 5,000 plus families out of the Gaza and turned maybe more than that, turned everything over to the Muslims. How did that turn out? And now you want to hand it over to an international body? I praise Netanyahu when he gets it right, but he gets it wrong an awful lot of the time. Why would you hand over your own land to an international body? How's that working out for you, by the way, at the international body of the United Nations? And then apparently, just in, the White House demands that Putin meet with Zelensky before he meets with President Trump. They're trying to end this war. Some say it may happen before the month is over. Well, we shall see. Patrick Wood comes back. We're going to talk about ChatGPT, but first, you're a Bible prophecy speaker. You're a Bible prophecy follower and teacher. What do you make of this? Benjamin Netanyahu saying that we're going to hand Gaza over to an international body that will neither have Hamas nor the Palestinian Authority involved. Why would you hand over your land to any international body? Is he really not that bright at the end of the day, or is he just, just a politician that this just makes no sense for your country to me.
My guess is he's not so astute on the Old Testament law, and if he understood that land should not be divided, he would have stopped right there. But at this point, this has been the mantra ever since Jimmy Carter, for instance, where all the presidents, all the world basically have been encouraging Israel to give up parts of their country. This is crazy, in my opinion, but they've all encouraged this. He thinks he can do it too, but he shouldn't. And there's strong exhortation in the Old Testament that's not given to man to divide the state of Israel. Period.
Well, and of course, my concern would be, I hope the Trump administration isn't behind this, because if they are, look out, America. Look out, America, for God's judgment. If we are in the process of dividing Israel, and I'm being told that there are communications out there by former members of Congress, particularly one, who's warning and asking people to pray that President Trump isn't putting pressure on Benjamin Netanyahu to divide Israel. But if the Trump administration is the one pushing for some kind of international body to take control of Gaza, and we, the United States, are the ones behind that, then I think we're inviting God's judgment. What say you?
I think so. I said this when Trump first went to Gaza and declared that he was going to take over Gaza. How does this work? I just don't know. But he said it very pointedly. He's going to take over Gaza. He's going to turn it into a strip and build hotels and a wonderful life for everybody. Lots of glitz and hotels like Trump Tower. Well, okay, maybe that was just rhetoric. Maybe it was just fun talk, but I don't think so. He's very serious about setting up camp in Gaza. Well, what's the difference at that point? If he can take it over, anybody could really at that point. And maybe, who knows? Maybe has a deal with the United Nations. I don't think that doesn't seem plausible, but at this point, who knows? We know that the United Nations is pro-Hamas in the first place. So they're not going to do any favors for Israel, for sure.
No, they're sure not. All right, we're going to ask our audience about this, their thoughts on this, but let's go to this one. Sensitive conversations with ChatGPT show up on Google search engines or Google searches. What would make anyone think that was acceptable? I mean, I don't know if ChatGPT is something I think you have to pay for it, don't you? At some level you have to pay for it, right?
You do, but even the free model has a share button. But the pro model has it as well. So if you have a conversation on a ChatGPT and you discover some information there, and you want to send it to a friend or maybe a colleague, maybe a coworker, whatever, and you press that share button, okay, it generates a link for you, a private link, they say, but that link, you can send that to your friend or colleague, and they can click that link and see your ChatGPT thread, okay? This is where the trouble is coming in. Because apparently Google, who sucks everything up in the universe, it doesn't care what it sucks up, but Google has apparently discovered the source of these ChatGPT threads in the first place and just says, hey, it's all for good, the common good here, we'll just take all that information as well. And now people are surprised that stuff is showing up in Google searches. Private stuff they put into ChatGPT, like the prompts that they put in and the answers they got back, etc. This is very dangerous, and so people are getting wised up. I'm sure at this point. Don't ever use that share feature. If you want to get something to a friend, use copy paste and take it out of ChatGPT altogether, put it in another type of a message, a private message, whatever, somewhere else, and then send it to them. But don't, by any means, never give it to the internet to be indexed by Google.
Wow. How about this one over at technocracy.news? Human AI relationships. Quote, what I'm falling in love with? What am I falling in love with? Question mark. What am I falling in love with? And this is because I guess these chat bots are becoming so lifelike and talking to you and interacting with you that now people are gaining emotional connections with their chat bot. Is that what I'm to understand?
It is, but we have to understand the big thing with this story is not just that they exist. There are over 350 apps, companion apps that they're called, who want you to believe they're your best friend, they're your lover, your colleague, or whatever that you can ask questions to night or day. It can be your therapist. And at this point, I added up some of the top apps that are listed on. I found them actually on the internet, but I surveyed 8 top apps since 2023. Brandon, you won't believe this. Over 200 million users are using companion apps. 200 million. Who knew that this would spread so fast?
Okay, wait a minute. I got to understand, what is a companion app? What is that? What you create your own little avatar, your own little AI buddy? What does that mean?
That's right. It's kind of like your childhood imaginary friend, but now you have an image on the screen. It talks to you.
You get to pick what the image. So if, let's say a guy's picking a gal, he gets to pick a brunette, a blonde, a girl. That's right. Whatever, can pick the guy she wants. So they can build the AI to look the way they want it to look.
Exactly, and it could be like a cartoon type of a character, anime perhaps, but
it could also be real life looking.
That's right. They can be absolutely lifelike as well. And you can pick whoever you want to, model that person after. But at that point, it remembers everything that you said to it, going from the very beginning, and it understands your personality eventually, and everything you like, your preferences, et cetera. All this is stored in memory. So then it can interact with you going forward, and you can ask any question you want, or just have a conversation.
So in other words, it will be like literally having a FaceTime conversation or a Skype conversation with a real human being. It's that real. It's that. So you could be sitting at a restaurant and someone could have their iPad propped up eating by themselves, but talking to someone on that app, on that iPad, or their phone's propped up, and you think they're having a conversation with one of their friends. You won't know it because they, as you walk by, if they don't have a screen protector or whatever, you'll be able to think, oh, they're having a conversation with a real person. They're not. They're having a conversation. It'll be that real life. Who will need a boyfriend or a girlfriend here? And what about the fertility rates? As again, I don't want to get too graphic because there are kids listening, but now we've got, you add in the technology of that with these robots they're creating, and you and I have seen the commercials and the videos, the documentaries they're doing on this, and they're becoming more and more and more lifelike, right? And now you got Elon Musk saying these homes are going to have robots that are running around doing your laundry and your chores. Well, when they take those robots and they make them look very lifelike, right? And they're running around the house and you're having a conversation. What happens to the institution of marriage and the fertility rate in America? Let's talk about that. I know it sounds sci-fi, doesn't it, folks? But it's really coming to pass. Technocracy.news, you'll find these articles. And we'll put this up at worldviewtube.com later today.
I'll tell you one little quick story. We had a Worldview weekend client who lived in California, lost their house. Very wealthy guy. He didn't use Bitcoin. He came over here, drove to Arizona with $286,000 worth of his gold because he had no money and no house available. His bank was shut down because he couldn't have access to his bank account.
Was this during the fire? Was this during the fires?
During the fire. Didn't have his driver's license. He lost it. The state wouldn't give him a new license because he had no active mailing address. Real mess. So he came to Arizona to buy a house. He's moving everything over. He said, the only thing I got in my possession that I can get liquid with right now is my gold. I gave him a check for $286,000, and guess what? I didn't need his social, his driver's license. Sort of smiled, and I said, I know you and Brandon talked about how this worked, but boy, this is great. I feel good. I got my money. Nobody bothered me, and I'm protected, and it's private.
Just simply go to worldviewgold.com, fill out the form, worldviewgold.com. All right, welcome back. Glad you're with us. Apparently, Ilhan Omar and Laura Loomer are in a fight online. That's very interesting. We'll bring that more to you tonight because Laura Loomer is a Jewish gal, and she's taking some swipes at Mohammed and his being a pedophile in a response back to Ilhan. So very interesting. Very interesting things happening out there. A lot of people speaking truth, which of course is why they got to shut things down, right? I mean, they got to shut things down, the globalists. And isn't it interesting that some of the groups pushing for this world government and the World Government Summit is in the United Arab Emirates are the Muslims. The Muslims are probably going to be real quick to get on the side of shutting some of these conversations down because they don't want us telling the truth about Islam or so-called blaspheming the prophet. You want to comment on that before I get back to what we were talking about, Patrick?
No, I think you're right. That you can see the source of censorship, a big source of censorship in the world today is coming from the Islamic world. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I think Islam is going to play a major, major role in Bible prophecy, don't you?
It is. It already is. I think it's absolutely has to be.
Don't you think that a lot of the old school? I mean, I love John Walvoord, John Whitcomb, Robert L. Thomas. I could go on and on. J. Vernon McGee, David Hawking. I mean, I could go on with the Bible prophecy guys I study, the old school guys, Charles Ryrie. But and I'm not criticizing them because I don't think they had the understanding at the time that we have now to see that Islam is going to play a major role. Islam doesn't come up a lot in their Bible prophecy. You notice that, right? In their writings, it doesn't come up a lot. But the more I watch this and study this, I think Islam is going to be a major, major player in Islam, at least until the Ezekiel 38, 39 scenario where God seems to judge a lot of the Islamic countries. You agree?
This is because we know more about Islam today than we ever knew in the past.
That's right.
It wasn't an issue in the 70s and the 80s. We all knew it was there, but it wasn't a threat like it is right now. And so we know so much more information about the world in general, and not just about certain aspects of it, but the knowledge of the world has increased so much that we now understand stuff that we just could not possibly have understood back then.
Yeah. We do have breaking news. President Trump apparently has come out of the dentist office at the White House, is now sporting gold teeth. He has now decided to go with the whole grill, gold teeth, President Trump. That's fake news. I'm sorry, I just made that up. I told Logan I think that's going to happen. Have you seen the Oval Office lately? Have you seen the Oval Office lately, Patrick?
He likes gold.
Oh, have you seen the amount of gold just added in the last week or so?
I know. It's beautiful. On one hand, it's beautiful stuff, but
it's like the Taj Mahal.
Yeah, exactly.
It is. I mean, he's got gold on the doors, gold everywhere.
Yeah. Look at that big X, a big X at the top of the door there. Does that look like X?
Elon's been in there helping him decorate.
I know. Elon was here.
Elon was here. What was that? What was that character during? Was it during the World War II? That character that they had with the nose hanging over the wall and Kilroy
was
here. Yeah. I was thinking about this morning. Why is he constantly redecorating the White House? They say that almost a daily basis. He's rearranging the furniture and bringing in artwork and statues and clocks. And now he's on a daily basis redoing the Oval Office. Every day I see something more added. I think by the time his term is over, there won't be any white walls in there. It'll all be gold. But I thought and now he's building a beautiful patio outside, which I agree with that part. That I've been in that rose garden a few times. That does turn into a sloppy mess. Why not make it nice, beautiful white brick or tile or whatever they're going to do and use it year round? He's going to enclose it eventually. But I got to thinking, what's he doing? And part of me is like, I think I know. I really do. I think I know. I think this is a lifelong builder. This is a man that spent his whole life looking over plans and building, and he's bored to one degree, right? He's bored. This is a guy that likes to see things accomplished, right? I know there are people in this audience that get that. They're builders. They are craftsmen. They do remodeling. I love having a project going. I like landscaping. I got a little section of my yard. I've already laid out when the grass doesn't grow. The trees are too big and the shade doesn't, so I have no grass there, I have dirt. I've already got a landscaping project and that's gonna go there. I'm doing it myself. I know, shocking, right? But my wife is forcing me to do it so that I get down and up and down and up and down, but she's afraid I'm too sedentary during the week. So she said, you can do that, but you have to do it. Or that she wants me to fall over dead with a heart attack. I'm not sure. Have you checked out my life insurance policy lately, Logan? No, I think she just wants me to get up and down and exercise. She keeps telling me I'm not getting up and down enough. You got to get on the floor and up. So I like the idea of projects, right? There was not anything in my backyard when I moved into my house 21 years ago. And I slowly, over 21 years, completely did all of the oversight of the landscaping of what my backyard looks like. And I love that kind of thing. I like, 21 years living in the same house. It's had to be turned over and I remodel, the bathroom or this and that. I love those little projects. And so I got to thinking, well, that's a small example how I like to have a little project going, right? Trump's building massive projects and he's done this his whole life and he gets into Washington. I think he's bored and he's taking it out on the Oval Office now and he's got to have a project going. It's something he can see every day. So I really do. I think there's a lot to the fact the man is used to building and seeing stuff come to pass, and now he's doing it with the White House. I can only imagine. The White House is a museum, and I can only imagine the man that's in charge of the White House. He has an office there. I can't remember what his official title is, but he has an office there. The man in charge of the White House. I can only imagine what he's saying right now, right?
I would imagine that he's getting ready to when he expires, he'll be rolling over in his grave. I'm sure, because it's at this point, who knows? The next president, of course, he could come in and rip it all out and do something different. But
yeah, well, that's what the guy. Look up the title of the man that's in charge of the White House. What's his official title, Logan? The man in charge of the White House. He has an office. He's probably thinking, we're going to need more. Tell the next president we're going to need more than that time period from when the president leaves the office that morning and comes back in the afternoon. We're going to have to put the next president over the Blair House for a couple days because it is going to take us a while to put the White House back the way it was when President Trump walked in. He's the tenant. He's the tenant that comes in and rearranges everything, and the landlord's like, how am I ever going to get this house straightened back out to rent it out to the next guy? This is fun to watch. All right, let's go back to where we were. So when you combine these robots Elon's talking about that will do your laundry and dishes and everything, and then you put on them lifelike bodies that we're seeing some of them do with these robots they're building, and then you add them a brain where it can literally have a conversation with you. Look, we already have, 1 in 4 young people say they don't even want to get married. They don't want to have children. What's this going to do to the fertility rate in America, the birth rate in America?
When people get attached to a machine to the exclusion of a human, they have no ability over time to relate to humans anymore. And this is going to spark a huge social reformation in society, where all these people will be walking around attached to their phone with their companion apps or whatever, the robots. And when a person comes in the room, they won't know how to relate to that person. Mm-hmm. People, especially the people close to you, they have issues. Everybody has issues. Everybody has warts, so to speak, and you don't like what they do all the time, what they say all of that time. But if you're not skilled to navigate that sort of relationship, you're going to be completely clueless on how to relate to humans. And of course, this will spill over into your romantic relationships as well. Mm-hmm. Who needs it? In other words, who needs that person at this point?
Well, if companionship, right? Someone to listen, yes. Someone to listen, companionship. Someone, years ago, decades ago, I was listening as a pastor talking about how, many people can make a living by just saying, X dollars an hour, I will listen to you, right? And that's really what a lot of people want. That's what a lot of people go to therapists for, and the therapist just takes notes while the person talks, right? And in some way solves their own problems by just talking it out with someone. So many people are lonely. My wife and I will run into people, and we often make the comment, that person is very lonely. They're very lonely, right? Well, here you go. The human need for companionship, right? And now you let Islam come in here, where they've got 3 or 4 wives, and they are just procreating left and right. I'm telling you right now, the Islamists are going to take over the country. I can tell you right now, and I think it's part of God's judgment, Islam will take over the United States. I truly believe that. Do you believe that, Patrick? At
some point, if it's left to itself right now, at some point it will. How long? I don't know. Maybe it will take 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, who knows? But you can see the population is growing and the influence is growing.
Yeah, it is.
Great, it is.
Let me go back to Israel real quick, if I can, because we have a comment being made by Benjamin Netanyahu. I guess he was giving an interview to Fox News, and he said this. Listen to this.
Near the Sinai Desert in Egypt, and that town has been flattened. And you have been accused of genocide. How do you respond to that?
Well, as Ambassador Huckabee said, if we're practicing genocide, we're surely doing a very bad job of it, because we could have, basically eliminated the entire population of Gaza, but we went the other direction. We did something that no army in history ever did. We're supplying humanitarian food to the enemy's population because we distinguish between combatants and non-combatants.
Of course, Hamas is stealing it. But the media today are very concerned that when he said we could have eliminated the entire population of Gaza. And the left is going crazy over that statement today.
Yeah, that's crazy. Well, he could have. They could have done it. They could have wiped out the whole population if they wanted to, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. But they didn't do that.
Nope. Let's talk about where you think we're going with President Trump. President Trump, you laugh, where you think we're going. President Trump on Space Force, not Space Force, Operation Warp Speed. Did you hear what he said yesterday?
I did. Stunning.
For those who maybe didn't hear it, here is here's what he said. Here we go. Here's what he said. This is kind of stunning, but here's what he said. He was being asked about mRNA injections. That's the text. That's the context.
Warp speed, these mRNA vaccines that are the gold standard. Right. Now your health secretary is pulling back all the funding for research. He's saying that the risks outweigh the benefits, which puts him at odds with
research
the entire medical community and with you. What is going on?
Research on what?
Into mRNA vaccines.
Well, we're going to look at that. We're talking about it, and they're doing a very good job. And, that is a pass. With Operation Warp Speed was, whether you're Republican or Democrat, considered one of the most incredible things ever done in this country.
Wow, we'll be right back.
You woke up with a sore throat and a low-grade fever. You know you are getting sick, so here's your choices. You can get sicker and miss work, try to see a doctor this week, or sit hours in a crowded waiting room at urgent care.
I have a smarter option for you. Open your medical emergency kit. Match your symptoms to doctor-recommended prescription in your booklet and take the right meds now and get well faster.
This is not a first aid kit. It's like having an urgent care in your home. It includes doctor-prescribed medications to treat over 39 medical issues like respiratory infections, strep throat, pneumonia, UTIs, and more.
No waiting to see the doctor and no standing in line at the pharmacy. It's right here.
Every home should have at least one medical emergency kit, and here's how to order.
Go to worldviewhealthcare.com. Your kit to treat dozens of common and serious illnesses is rushed to your door. worldviewhealthcare.com. That's worldviewhealthcare.com.
The emergency kit available at worldviewhealthcare.com. Make sure you don't have to go to urgent care. I got pneumonia. I didn't have to go. I took this last year. Stayed at home, went to bed. Go back. The chief usher. That's the name of the guy. Yeah, Gary Walters. That was the one I remember. Is that his name, Logan? He was he Reagan, George H. Clinton? He was Reagan, George H. Clinton. Yeah, that's the one I remember. He used to give great interviews, tours. I have no idea what his politics was. And I think that was obviously by design. I had no idea what his politics was. But from his public persona, I always liked him on his public persona in the tours he gave, how he talked about the House, serving the presidents. Very interesting guy. I think he actually had probably the funnest jobs in the world. And all he got to see and be a part of, literal history. Yeah, the chief usher. Fascinating. All right, let's go back to this clip by President Trump yesterday, which is driving a lot of MAGA people mad.
Talking about it, and they're doing a very good job. And, that is a past. Operation Warp Speed was, whether you're Republican or Democrat, considered one of the most incredible things ever done in this country. The efficiency, the way it was done, the distribution, everything about it has been amazing. But, that was now a long time ago.
Oh, well, it was amazing. Distribution of what? Well, the context was mRNA shots. That was the question. So I don't know. Why does he not just leave this alone, Patrick?
He's been consistent. You can say that about him. He's consistently pumped his record, and he doesn't apparently see anything wrong with it. Maybe it's a blind spot. Maybe it's not more than that. I don't know. But he won't get off of it.
No, he sure won't. Well, I will tell you from personal, firsthand, ear witness, eyewitness. I was in the room. He believes the shot was stopping people from getting COVID.
Yeah.
He believed it worked, that if you got the shot, you would not get COVID. Okay? I was in the room.
Yeah.
He gave an interview. We have the clip. He totally believed that if you got the shot, you would not get COVID, which tells me this president can be convinced of things that are not true if he has the right person selling it to him.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yep. Let's go to this. EU's, here we go. European Union's, it's loading slow, but it's an article. I don't know why it's loading so slow. Your EU's technocratic border control will be launched in October. It applies to all non-EU visitors. We're going to go back to this idea of the European Union. I don't know why that article is loading so slow, but if it will load, we'll talk about it. There we go. There it is. EU's technocratic border control will be launched in October. Again, European Union, if you want to know where America is going, where the other, what I think are going to be 9 unions of the world, 10 divisions are going, watch the EU, because that's where everybody else is going. This is coming to America. But the European Union is the model for the world, and no wonder the Antichrist makes his headquarters there. Look at this. Patrick?
Yep. Remember, this is all going to be contained on your smartphone, for one thing. Your digital ID, your passport, all the different documents that get you from here to here, maybe your vaccine passport as well. Okay, so you go to the airport and you want to fly somewhere. And all of a sudden, your cell phone dies. What are you going to do? You're standing in the middle of the airport, maybe in line to get through the check-in, and your cell phone dies on you, runs out of power, or it just conks, or you drop it, and all of a sudden it cracks and won't turn on. You're a non-person all of a sudden, standing in time and space where you can't prove anything about yourself. You can't go anywhere at that point because you can't get out of the security in the first place. What are you going to do? This is a problem. You're not.
Well, this is why I think you eventually get a mark and the energy, because it's been proven for years that your body obviously is creating its own energy, right? You can. That's right. You can power a small device just through your own human energy. Mm-hmm. So you could have something you put under the skin that could be powered by a battery that lasts forever, or just again being powered by your own energy inside your body. And then you don't have to worry about your phone going out.
That's right. That leads into Bible prophecy as well. It's just crazy. But you're right. That will be a good rationale for people to put something under the skin that can be powered without your cell phone. But at this point, it's going to be messy. That's all I can say. It's going to be really messy going forward.
Let me have you comment on this before we run out of time. OpenAI is giving ChatGPT to the government for $1. Now, when I read that article today, I thought, sure, if Sam Altman wants to give ChatGPT to the government for $1, but he's getting multi-million-dollar contracts to set it up and organize it and make it operate for all these government agencies, who cares if he gives it to them for $1? He's making millions on other government contracts, is he not?
He is. Absolutely. Yeah. I tell you what, the whole object of Doge in the first place was not to be efficient. It wasn't about saving money. It was about hooking AI up to the government in the first place. And at this point, the gate has been open wide. And now, hey, we'll just give it to you for free. No problem. We'll make sure you have all the AI that you need to run the government or your operations. This is not what we want. This is never. Nobody voted on this. Believe me.
No, nobody voted
November.
for this. They know. And what's interesting is that we get all of our government hooked to this, right? We get all our government agencies hooked to this. And look at this article today at the Daily Express. China's biggest threat to the U.S. is a tech kill switch after malicious claims. A cybersecurity expert has warned that China is the biggest technological threat to the West, with Chinese equipment containing malicious computer codes. They can just shut it all down. So hook it all to the computer. Everything's hooked to a computer. Everything's running on computers. And then China comes along and has a kill switch. Closing comment?
It's coming. It's coming. We should be watching, ever vigilant.
Yep. Someone came to my backyard the other day and said, "Wow, you've got a lot of firewood." I said, "Yeah, I always keep that much firewood on hand because if the grid goes down, I may be using it to cook." All right. Take care. And we're back with Patrick Wood and Technocracy.news and WROS out of Jacksonville, Florida. Patrick, these are such interesting times to be alive. We report on these things, but they don't really bother me. I'm not pious. I'm like, oh, I'm above all that. I'm so spiritual. I'm not saying that. It doesn't bother me. It doesn't mean I agree with them, but it doesn't upset me because I understand that everything is just playing out according to Bible prophecy and God is in control. And why am I going to worry? Well, I can't do anything about it. I can't stop these guys. And, that's also the great thing about the rapture, which is a doctrine that Satan hates. No wonder the doctrine of a pre-tribulation rapture is attacked because Satan doesn't want the church to have that hope. Satan doesn't want Christians to have the hope that, hey, today, I could be out of here. So I'm not going to fret too much about this and what's coming. And yet, when I teach through the book of Revelation, I see it. And I'm in Revelation chapter 19 now, the marriage supper of the Lamb. It's last Sunday night. And here we go. We're now coming with the second coming after the marriage supper of the Lamb, about the middle way of the chapter. And you've got the believers coming back, and they've already got their white robes and everything. It's like, well, of course. When did the marriage take place? It took place in the Father's house. Isn't that how it went in the Jewish community? And didn't Jesus say, if I go prepare a place for you, I will receive you unto myself, that where I am, there you may be also? He receives the bride, calls the bride, has the marriage, and then the marriage supper. And then the believers, the church, come back with him at the second coming wearing their robes. I mean, that's just one of many things I could say for the removal of the church. Not to mention the Holy Spirit being removed, the restrainer stop restraining, which is what creates the tribulation. But I don't get all wound up about this because I'm not planning on being here. And that's not a pious belief. But no wonder Satan hates the doctrine of the pre-tribulation rapture of the church. And if it's not true, why is Satan having his ministers spend so much time attacking it? Why are there so many false teachers attacking it? Why do people inside of the occults have books they're writing about millions of people being removed from the planet and that it's UFOs taking the bad people out? Why is Satan having his people through demons tell him to write this stuff if it's not a true doctrine?
Makes you wonder. Yeah, exactly. I think, nevertheless, our hope in this world doesn't rest on this world. It rests on the person of Jesus Christ in the first place. But until he calls us out, or perhaps we die and we go in the rapture later. But right now, we're still here. We have a mission to be, he wants to find us doing our Father's business, to tell the world what the kingdom of God is all about in the first place, and certainly to be true to our calling to expose the deeds of evil in the world.
Wow. Well, we're breaking news. What does that say, Logan? Steve Bannon plans to run for president in 2028, per the Daily Mail. Now, whether that's true or not, I have no idea, but isn't that interesting?
Oh, my gosh. That would be interesting. But it's secretly, it says. Secretly.
Secretly he's running for president?
Well, I know something, the word, I saw the secretly.
Is that what it said, secretly?
It was his plans maybe are secret.
Oh, his plans are secret.
He's secretly plotting a sensational run for the president. Whoa. Okay. Well,
maybe Logan, should I text him? Should I text Steve and ask him for an interview?
You should. Now's the time to do that.
Steve, I'd like to interview you. We produced your show for 3 years. We would like an exclusive interview on your running for president, please.
Oh boy, I like that.
Oh, this is going to get interesting. 2028 is going to be interesting, isn't it? Here it is. Here's the headline: Steve Bannon plots secret run for president. He's already poisoning his closest rival. I created him. Who's he? Is he talking about J.D. Vance? How did he create J.D. Vance? I thought Peter Thiel created J.D. Vance.
Exactly.
We had him on his show a lot? So how many times did you produce, how many times did we produce J.D. Vance? A lot? But you were producing it when he came on. So you've actually talked to J.D. Vance, Logan, several times, right? Was he nice to you? Was he good? He doesn't even remember because he didn't think of him very much. He was just a senator, right? Yeah. Wow. Well, he must have been nice, or you would remember. I tell you what, these control operators, these producers and control board, they know who the nice people are, who the creeps are, because they treat people like dirt that aren't the host or whatever. So Logan knows who the nice people are and who's not. The fact that you don't remember much tells you he was nice to you, because otherwise you'd remember. Interesting. Well, we'll have to cover this. Technocracy.news, Technocracy.news, us, worldviewtube.com. Thank you, Patrick. Take care, folks.